Are you ready to deal with a cyber attack, a breach of your system? Data that is in your possession gets out and is now in the hands of a bad actor. Are you ready for when that happens to your business? We're going to talk about that in this video. It is Cyber Liability and Insurance 101. We're going to get into it right after this. Hey folks, I am James Jenkins, Chief Risk Officer of RiskWell. We are located in McKinney, Texas, serving about 20 states with business insurance and real estate insurance advice and videos and content just like this. If you're watching this video on YouTube, I would love it if you would subscribe to our channel, give this video a like and a share, and also ring that notification bell so you hear first when we drop new content. Thank you so much. This video is part of our series on the Business Insurance Academy. It is an entire suite, a playlist of videos specifically designed to help business owners make great decisions and get good advice about their business insurance and risk management needs. In this video, we're going to jump into a presentation I have built on cyber liability and data breach insurance. We're going to do the screen share, walk you guys through some step-by-step, very important information that can help you be better prepared and better understand cyber liability and data breach and some risk mitigation strategies that we can get into together. So let's jump right into that right now with the screen share. All right, folks, we're going to go ahead and do the screen share here from our PowerPoint. I will make this presentation available to you upon request. Just comment below or message me at the channel and we'll get you the PowerPoint slides so you can spend some time looking at this stuff for yourself. We'll have opportunity for questions and everything like that at the end of these slides. So let's just jump right in. First things off, why should I care about cyber insurance? Why should you care? What does it mean, really? 3,800 data breaches last year, according to Forbes. And the bad part is we're not talking about the Targets and Best Buys of the world. We're talking about 80% of these breaches happening to small business owners. That's you and me, most of the people watching this video. The average out-of-pocket cost for dealing with the fallout from a data breach is about $80,000 in direct costs. That's a lot of cheddar. That also doesn't include indirect cost or lost opportunity costs. And I don't know about you, but I think if I had a data breach, that might impact my productivity at the office. So what does cybercrime look like? What are the bad guys up to? What are the sorts of activity that we see happening with cybercrime? It looks like this: ransomware and your computer, your data being held hostage until you pay a monetary amount to the hacker, to the bad guy. Also malware, the installation of malicious software on your computer that's designed to steal data and generally do bad things. Phishing is the use of fake emails to look like legitimate emails to get you and your employees to share sensitive information freely with the bad actor. It can be intellectual property theft where someone gets into your system and steals proprietary or confidential business information. Could also just be a denial of service where your server for your website, for your email system, is overloaded with a high volume attack that's designed to take down your system. Could also be social engineering attack that is designed to trick you or your employees, your contractors, into doing something they're not supposed to do. This also includes fraudulent transfers where, let's say, the CFO were impersonated. If their email got hacked, then that fake CFO email is instructing people to send money to places they shouldn't be sending. We're also talking about corporate espionage and also geopolitics and spycraft. I'm looking at you, Communist China. You guys do this more than just about anybody. So, what are we talking about here? What kind of data are we talking about here? It's first and foremost, it's personally identifiable information, otherwise known as PII. This is all of your personal secret stuff, your social security number, your date of birth, driver's license number, etc., your grandmother's maiden name, security question type of things. Next is going to be protected health information. This is covered under HIPAA, the federal law that basically has everything to do with health data, including your background and biographical and medical records and things like that. Next is going to be your payment card industry data, your PCI, your credit card numbers, expiration dates, security digits, and stuff like that. Employee information, hire dates, social security numbers, tax records, things like that. Also, very sensitive information. Proprietary business information, trade secrets that includes both intellectual property and also sensitive, strategic and perhaps operational data. What your big plans are for the second half of this year. Maybe your competitor would really like to know what those plans are. And lastly, governmental and infrastructure information, utility and power grid, and municipal websites and email servers where there's lots of important information about public sector employees and city data and things like that as well. Next, we're going to talk about how does typical insurance coverage fail. You go down to the street corner and talk to your run-of-the-mill agent from a big national company like a Farmers, a State Farm, an Allstate, Nationwide, and things like that. Just any one of those big companies. How does that kind of approach to cyber liability and data breach insurance typically fail? Well, it starts really with minimal options being available on package and business owner policy options. They simply don't have a lot of the options that you would want them to have for your, Main Street business, your flower shop, your small doctor's office, your small restaurant, coffee shop, that sort of thing. Most of those kinds of policies have very limited options for good cyber liability and data breach coverage. And even when they do have those options, they typically have very small dollar amounts, like a $50,000 limit for cyber liability protection, or perhaps $100,000 in some places, but very low dollar amounts and non-existent first-party coverage options. You have some coverage for third-party, your liability exposure, but your first party, the coverage that you need to restore your own systems and deal with your own expenses, those are non-existent on these mainstream package policy options. Unfortunately, most agents and brokers really don't understand cyber liability insurance. They're not capable of delivering good advice because they simply don't know enough about the subject to be able to have an intelligent conversation on the topics that we're discussing on this video here. And lastly, one of the big problems is just the industry as a whole. The insurance industry and a lot of the companies in it are not exactly known for innovating and for being embracing and welcoming to new things that come on the scene. Definitely cyber liability and data breach protection would fall into the category of the more technical side of things, and a lot of insurance companies simply aren't ready to have those conversations just yet. So, essential coverage areas for you to consider. These are the things that are going to be present in any good, full-featured cyber liability and data breach insurance program. First is going to be simply cyber liability coverage, the building block of any insurance program that is addressing these concerns. This is a third-party coverage that is going to protect against liability that you have for the breach, the release of information. This also covers the cost of the legal defense and any settlements that are appropriate in resolving your case. Next is going to be negligence as well as breach of contract accusations. This does include payment card industry fines, because you better believe if you have a breach and someone's credit card information is exposed, then your vendors and your regulatory authority for PCI is definitely going to be throwing some fines around. And while we're talking about regulatory, let's talk about the rest of it. Uncle Sam really doesn't like when data breaches happen, especially if it is found that you or anyone in your company was negligent in addressing those threats in a responsible fashion. Especially here, we're talking about health information, especially for vulnerable populations that may have a lot to lose if their information is released. You better believe there's going to be a lot of regulatory fines and penalties, and a full-featured insurance program will help compensate you for these regulatory fines and penalties to help minimize your out-of-pocket cost. There's going to be some first-party coverages as well, not just third-party. First and foremost is the cost to remediate and rebuild your system. If your server, for instance, is compromised, if computers in your office are compromised, it could cost several $1,000s to get all of those things back to full working order again. Next is going to be notification expenses for anyone whose data has been or might have been released or breached. Anytime one of these big things happens with, the Target or Yahoo or Best Buy or whatever, typically you're going to get an official notification, most often by certified mail, notifying you that your data, your information might have been or was in fact compromised. And the cost of each one of those notifications is about $7 plus or minus. And that's every record, every unique record that you have that is breached or that might have been breached. So if you have 2,000 people in your database, 2,000 people times $7, well, that adds up really fast. Next is going to be social engineering and fraudulent transfer losses. If someone sends money they weren't supposed to send, then you may very well be able to get that money back in addition to having the pieces put back together at the expense of your insurance program. Lastly is going to be soft cost. This is kind of the squishy part of the coverage because it's not very easily nailed down as to exactly what the scope of this coverage is. Definitely includes things like reputation management. If you have to hire a public relations firm to make sure that people know that you are going to be responsible, that they know what you have done to correct future breaches from happening. If you have to buy time at a call center to get someone to call your customers for you, a lot of times you can be forced via federal or state regulations to pay for credit monitoring services for your customers, employees, anyone whose information might have been compromised. All of those areas of essential coverage are going to be covered on the, let me get my little camera out of the way here. That last line wasn't visible. All of these things are going to be part of a full-featured good insurance program. So, recommended actions. What should you do in light of this information? First and foremost is conduct a RiskWell threat assessment. That's us, hi, RiskWell right here, to identify and analyze your company's exposure to cyber-related losses. Next is going to be conducting an audit of all of your vendors to make sure that anyone with sensitive access to your system is conducting business in the way that you would want them to. You want them to be practicing good cyber risk mitigation strategies because it doesn't matter if you're doing your job right. If the people that access your system aren't, then you still have a big problem on your hands. Next is going to be drafting a written and comprehensive all-around critical incident response plan, commonly referred to as a CIRP. CIRP, that addresses all necessary actions that your company needs to take in the event of a breach. Everyone should know exactly what their job is in order to minimize the impact of a breach situation and help prevent it from happening again. Mark your calendar to regularly review your CIRP with all of your key stakeholders, the officers and employees of your company, key vendors, strategic partners, etc., anyone else that you want to make sure is on the same page with how you conduct your business with regards to cyber liability and data breach protection. And you need to be recruiting every level of your organization to buy into these tactics so that you have a comprehensive response and everyone is doing what they need to do to engage in good cyber risk mitigation strategies so that in the event there is a data breach situation, you guys are ready and prepared and everyone knows exactly what they need to do to help minimize the damage. And lastly, I can't say this one strongly enough, I really suggest contracting with a third-party IT managed services company. Typically, these people are local to your area, wherever your business is located, and they do a wonderful job of helping you address and proactively prepare for future incidences. They keep your security up to date, they do the virus scan with the patches and updates, and help make sure that your response capabilities are in line with where you would want them to be so that you can minimize the impact of these kinds of events in your business. So what are next steps? What do we recommend doing here? Schedule your no-cost discovery consultation with my team, a RiskWell professional advisor, by visiting our website, riskwell.com/consultation. Next, you can email me directly. That's james@riskwell.com. For any comments or questions, I'll be happy to talk with you and see how we can help you get better prepared in these areas we've talked about on this video today. If you want to request an insurance review, just send policy docs to quotes@riskwell.com. A member of my team will get with you promptly. We can get that review conducted and make sure that your program has everything that you need it to. And lastly, for anything else, please feel free to call my office. Our phone number is 469-678-8001. If you need to reach me directly, you'll be able to through our phone system as well. And definitely want to make ourselves available to you to help you get what you need. And that is about it, folks. This video is a lot longer than normal, but there's a lot of very important information we needed to share with you to help make sure that you understand and are prepared for cyber liability and data breach kind of events. You can do a whole lot on the front end to minimize the damage should something like this ever happen to you. So again, thank you for your time. Please do consider subscribing to our channel, liking and sharing this video. I'd love to hear your comments below if there's any other questions I can help you with. And that's all for now. Make it a great day, boys and girls, and please remember, life is risky. Risk well.